Hi! I got my new backdrop. Yay! I don't know. I feel like it makes a difference. Because it was looking really dark back there and muddy. I think it's starting to look a little better. Basically, before I really get into the drawing part of the stream, I want to talk a little bit about improvements I want to make, which I feel like I have to give more of a backstory as to why I started streaming again. I don't know, I feel a little bit nervous talking about this, but I also think it's helpful because I'm going to start uploading the VODs onto YouTube, and I feel like if people are watching the VOD, I hope they watch my VODs on YouTube. Let me go back. So, welcome to my Just Chatting stream. A couple of years ago, I was a full-time office worker for a very, very, very long time. And a couple of years ago, I quit my job. Mostly because Dan got a new job that made more than enough money for both of us. And I was really, really sick. Which I later found out is because of my job. Like, I was very overworked and I was very stressed out and I was mentally and physically just shutting down. So I ended up quitting that job over 2 years ago. And was it over 2 years ago? A year and a half ago? Something like that. I don't know. I can't keep track of time anymore, probably because of COVID. But anyway, after I took some time to get better, I decided to start streaming again. And the thing is, I keep saying that I'm a full-time artist and that I do work, and I do. I just, I understand that I'm not, like, a lot of freelance artists aren't very successful, and that's okay. Our livelihood doesn't ride on my success, thankfully. So, I'm not treating this as a hobby. I do treat it seriously, but at least I don't have that pressure of having to perform. So, I'm going into my art career understanding that it may not actually take off and being okay with that. And that's how I'm also approaching Twitch. I'm streaming as a supplement to my art career, as a way to help me get my work done. And if I'm going to be a full-time artist and I'm drawing a lot anyway, why not stream too? So I also understand very, very few streamers actually take off, and very, very few can make it a lucrative career. I'm not trying to do that. I mean, it would be cool if it was, but I understand that's probably not going to happen, and that's okay. That said, I do want to try and take it seriously, within my own comfort and boundaries. Like, I'm not going to overwork myself anymore. I did that and it nearly ruined me. I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to be streaming every single day. I'm still having a hard time keeping up with the stream schedule that I want to have because I keep getting ill. And to be honest, errands and emergencies within my family are more important to me. So if I need to take Tarkin to the vet, or I have to schedule a doctor's appointment when I normally stream, or Dan needs to do something, or to me that takes precedence. But I'm gonna try and be better about keeping a schedule, and then maybe if I'm okay at doing 2 days a week, maybe I can upgrade it to more days. We'll see, because I'm thinking about maybe adding gaming. I don't know. But all that to say is I have been looking at videos and guides and tips and tricks on how to be a better streamer, how to be better at social media. Basically, that I need to be better at being engaging, and I'm not very good at it. like I said, a lot of times I'm not feeling that great. And I'll get bursts of energy where I will interact with people and try to be entertaining and keep up on trends, but that only lasts so long. Most of the time I just want to like go curl up on the couch and be a burrito and just watch TV. And I'm very thankful, again, that I have the ability to do that, but you know, I'm also recognizing what I can and can't do. That said, when I was looking at tips for being a streamer, especially if you don't have much of an audience, one of the tips was to, when you do your stream, to be engaging, but be engaging as if your stream is going to be meant for something else. So for example, the YouTube VODs I was talking about, or uploading the VODs onto YouTube. Again, I'm not expecting the YouTube channel to take off or anything either. I honestly don't expect anyone to really watch the VODs on YouTube. But I thought it would be a good way or a good idea to focus on the idea of like, well, what if they did? Or if people want to go back and rewatch my VODs, what benefit would that be? Hi, Sniper Nova. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm just monologuing here. So what that means is I'm going to try and be better at talking about what I'm doing and not just me sitting here being like, I hate this finger, I hate this hand, I hate this head, which I think is very common for artists when they're drawing. It's going, thank you so much for the follow. It's going all right. I'm trying to rethink how I want to be a streamer. And basically talking about how I want to engage my stream. How are you doing though? How are you doing? Is it Sunday for you? Are you on this side of the hemisphere, or is it going into the next day? But yeah, I'm going to try and talk more about my process, like actually talking about what I'm doing, the decisions I'm making to make those choices. And hopefully that would make the VOD worth keeping around. And not just me here doing nothing and just scribbling and muttering to myself about lines, because I hate lines and I hate coloring, and you know, drawing's hard. Just vibing, that sounds like a good Sunday to me. I'm gonna be, I feel like there's something off with this current drawing, and I think it is Serenity's head. It might also be Endymion's head. I think they're too big, which is a problem I have. I usually draw heads too big. I feel like when you're in an anime style, it's really hard to keep anatomy in check. I probably should go take a few more figure drawing classes, which is kind of hard to do during COVID. Because the best figure drawing classes are the ones that are in person. I also just, I wish I could make the arms flow more naturally. To me, they look really robotic right now, but I feel like it's kind of outside of my skill set at the moment. I just need to keep drawing, and eventually I will be able to draw arms, I hope, one day, and hands. And so that these hands, I think, turned out okay. But I just think their heads are a little too big. Or maybe it's just her head that's a little too big. I mean, it's also kind of deceiving because she has giant buns, so that makes her head look even bigger than it actually is. But let's just take this down and see. If I make it smaller, let's see how that goes. But I think his head's too big too. Actually, yeah, okay. I think that's a little bit better. Maybe his head's a little too small now. that's it. I think that was it. Oh, to be honest, I don't really know anymore. There's some times where I feel that if you, or at least for me, when I work on a drawing too long, I end up overworking it, and then I'm like, eh, and I give up on it for a while, which, you know, is not the worst thing in the world. Because sometimes you do just need to step back. I also think I want this to look pretty nice, and my problem is that having really nice, pretty drawings is not really my style. Makes me feel a little sad to say that, because I want to be good at it too. I'm just not. Probably because I don't practice enough. I'd much rather be drawing shitposts. Which is maybe why I'm not a very successful freelance artist, because I'm just drawing like human heads on horse bodies most of the time. Okay, I think that looks better. The other thing is, I think their necks are too long, but at the same time, I think the elongation makes it look prettier. I need to get back to anatomy classes. Like, that's what I need to do. I think I wanted to... I always like the idea of lineless drawings, but I have a really hard time painting. Like, for some reason, I just can't wrap my head around how painting works. Which again, probably means I need to practice or take classes. But, you know, I think I also recognize that some people just are bad at things, and that's okay. Maybe I should just lean to my strengths, which is just drawing people head on horse bodies. And just do that forever. I got called out on Tumblr today. It was a very nice call out. But basically talking about how, like, I'm a person in fandom that shitposts like really quick drawings in like 5 to 10 minutes. What was the post? It was really cute. I was really glad people thought of me when they saw it, because I want that to be my legacy. Let's see. Oh, it's I think the best part about having internet friends is when the person you're talking to goes suddenly quiet, then reappears in the chat with either the single greatest or single most cursed image you've ever seen that they made themselves in 5 to 10 minutes. And I appreciate that people thought of me. I can't say that I've ever made anything that was like the greatest image. I've definitely made a bunch of cursed images though, and I'm very proud when people think of me. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like, do you want to be known for making nice drawings? Or do you want to be known as like that person? Okay. No, I think this is still fine, right? It's still fine. Yeah, I think it's still fine. Move the center line down here. No, that's fine. Okay. At least, yeah, I think I want to do clean lines. I have a rough brush on, and I think, I'm not sure how precise I want to be with the coloring. Like, I don't know if I'm going to try and be really detailed or be a little bit more rough with it. I feel like I'm still trying to figure out how to color. How do I color good? Yeah, why not? We could leave that kind of type of chin, right? I think that's okay. Is that okay? I think it's okay. It's fine, something like that. Yeah, the one thing I do really like about digital art, just sitting here constantly making changes like I am right now, because I've been trying to, well, I really like art supplies, and I keep buying art supplies and then not using it. Traditional art is hard, I don't like doing it. I feel like this entire stream is just me talking about how, like, art is hard and I don't like doing it. But I have been trying to do it a bit more to justify buying the art supplies. Not that Dan would ever tell me, like, that I can't buy the stuff, because he's not like that. But I feel bad spending his money on things that I'm just not actually using. So I'm trying to use them. You know, the weird thing about her earrings is I know they're earrings, so I think we all confuse them for her hair. But they're earrings though, they're just weird. They're just weird earrings. Yeah, something like that should be fine. She also gets like the little hair wispies on the side, and they get messed up in the earrings. Yeah, I'll be fine. It's fine. But I was telling Dan, because I was telling him how I was watching these like YouTubes about being a better streamer and being more entertaining, and I feel like that's easy. Well, not easy, but I feel like it's easier for a gaming streamer because they can react to what they're playing versus an art streamer where you're reacting to what you're drawing, and really the whole time you're thinking about is just like how much you don't like what it looks like, and that's why you're constantly moving over it and like changing it and stuff. I'm still gonna try, of course. But that's what I was like, what am I gonna do? To, you know, react to be engaging. And that's when I was like, oh, I should probably just talk about my process. No, you're okay. I honestly, that's what I do when I watch streams, is I'm usually like playing games or I'm drawing myself. Actually, my favorite way to draw is to TV shows and movies. So making myself stream to draw has been kind of difficult for me, actually. Because usually I just zone out. Oh, what do I play? I was playing... Well, I like playing Vampire Survivors. I haven't really played on anything on PC in a while because when Fire Emblem Warriors came out... Oh, thank you for the hydrate. When Fire Emblem Warriors came out, I've just been out on... in the living room because that's where we keep all our consoles. So I haven't really been watching streams. But when I'm in here, I'd be playing Vampire Survivors. I play Genshin on and off, depending on if I'm feeling burnt out from it, or if there is a character that I really want. Because you know, you gotta play to farm those primos so you can roll. Or I'd play TFT. I need to get back into... So I had disembarkment syndrome for a couple of months, which is basically everything's kind of off balance. Like cognitively, you think that everything is moving and it's not. And that was making me pretty ill, and I couldn't play a lot of games as a result. So I actually haven't played 14 in a long time. I'm finally starting to feel better, so I'm going to try and go back to 14. So maybe I'll be doing that while I'm watching streams. Though, of course, right now I'm trying to get through Fire Emblem Warriors. It's a lot. I mean, I'm glad that there's so much content in the game. I wasn't expecting so much solo content anyway, because the last one was more co-op. Oh, thank you. It sucked. At one point, because I've had it before, but it went away after a month, and you know, a month and a half had gone by and I was still really ill. I got it from riding a roller coaster, by the way. Like, apparently my body is like, you were too old to have fun, please stop. But after a month and a half, I teledocked one of the GPs at the hospital I go to, and I was like, look, it's not going away this time. Can you like give me medication? Should I go to a specialist? Like, what should I do? And the GP I was talking to, because it was a teledoc, wasn't going into the clinic. It's because I'm diabetic, type 2, and I'm more susceptible to infections and diseases. It's safer for me to not go into the hospital or clinic. So that's why I was doing the phone call ones. I mean, the thing is, like, I like roller coasters, and it was a really, really cool roller coaster. It was Ghost Rider down on Knott's Berry Farm, and I was taking one of my really close friends and her son, because he had never been to one of the major theme parks before, so it was his first Disneyland trip, and we took them, and we went, okay, so he's 10 years old. And we go into Knott's Berry Farm, and he sees like the huge roller coasters, the giant inversions, like Hang 10, if you know what that one is, but it's the one where it comes up and it hangs like this before it drops down. And he's like, I want to go on all of those. And I was like, oh, dear son. Because as much as I like roller coasters, I don't like those kind of roller coasters. But I knew about Ghost Rider. It's an old wooden coaster. It doesn't have any inversions, and it's long. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I think wooden roller coasters are really cool anyway. And I was like, hey, let's go on this one. This might be a good, like, introductory roller coaster for you. And I was wrong. I had never been on Ghost Rider before, and I hadn't really watched any videos on it. I just thought it'd be fine. because it's just a wooden roller coaster with no inversions. And we get on it, and it is a super cool roller coaster. It's very smooth, but it has a lot of airtime. It pushes you around. It's fast, and it scared the crap out of him. It's exactly. So here's the worst part. We were sitting, and I should have known at this part because we were in the queue. And the queue at Knott's Berry is, like, queues in general are terrible, but Knott's Berry Farm's queue for Ghost Rider is like the absolute worst. It is a barn, and it just snakes inside the barn, and then it snakes on the top floor of the barn. And Ghost Rider itself only runs 2 carts every 2 minutes, basically. So it's like 24 to 30 passengers every 2 minutes. So it's very, very slow. And we're inside the barn for like 2 hours queuing for this ride. And we actually got into the ride when the line was fairly short. And they were looping All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey inside the building. And like, it's not December. It's past Christmas by several months. And my friend was just like, what is this fresh hell? And I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. And I was singing the Christmas songs to her. And when it stopped looping All I Want for Christmas, it looped Silent Night. And I was like, okay, yeah. And so I sang Silent Night to her. Anyway, I guess that was the sign that this is going to be, that I fucked up. So we go on the ride. The kid is like scared. He thinks it's really cool, but he's like scared, and he doesn't want to go on any of the other big roller coasters the rest of the day. We just take him on the kid rides. And I get off the ride, and I'm feeling kind of disoriented, but to me it goes away after about 30 minutes. So I thought everything was fine. And we walked around the rest of the park, ate the food for the rest of the day, and then eventually we went back to the hotel room. And I thought I was fine at the hotel room until we got ready for bed. And I was laying down in bed, and I was just like, oh, and like everything is going. I was like, oh, well, maybe it was just, it was a lot for today. Maybe my brain's just like, you need a rest. That was not the case. It was like that every day. And then it actually got worse when I got back. So anyway, I talked to the GP a couple months later, telling him what's going on. And he's like, well, I'm really worried that you're having a stroke. And because we're on doing a video call, I can't test to see if you're actually having a stroke or not. So you need to go to the emergency room. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went to the emergency room, which it only scared me because at the possibility of having a stroke. And I did not have a stroke, by the way. That's when she's like, I'm pretty sure you're having disembarkment syndrome, the doctor there. She's like, you should probably follow up with your ear, nose, eye doctor, which I have one. I was like, great. So I followed up with them, and she's like, yeah, I think you have disembarkment syndrome. You need to go to physical therapy. You need to talk to a therapist to do brain exercises to try and fix it. And I did see a guy. He was great. Did the brain exercises. It took a couple of months, but it's gone. I mean, I'm still very susceptible to, I've always been susceptible to motion sickness, but there's that. I'm still kind of sensitive to it. But disembarkment syndrome, if you haven't heard of it, its full name, it's a French name, but it's basically disembarking from the sea. And it gets that name because it usually affects people getting off of ships that have been on them for a very long time, especially cruise ships. In some cases, it's airplanes. Hi, Aya! I'm glad you can make it. I know, I think weekends you said are better for you, so I'm glad you're here. You get it from airplanes, and I guess in my case, I got it from a fucking roller coaster. Yeah, so anyway, now that I'm feeling better, I can go back to playing the games I actually like to play. There's some games I still can't play, like I've never been able to play. Like I can't play Overwatch. The first person gets to me. I haven't tried Borderlands lately because I really wanted to get the Tiny Tina game. But the last time I tried to play Borderlands 3, I immediately got sick. So I don't know. I need to test that out. But yeah. So anyway, I guess the moral of the story is don't get old. Don't get old, don't get sick. I guess don't ride any more roller coasters. Don't have fun. I'll posture. I know, I have my... You can't see it. Well, maybe I can show it to you. Let me see if I can. This is my drawing tablet. So over here, I'm just like... I mean, it's been great having it on this arm. It actually has helped a lot for my back and my shoulders. It's much more ergonomic having it on an arm and being able to move it where I need it to be. Like, before I quit my job, as a birthday present, I invested in my art tablet and my setup. I had never intended to be more than a hobby artist for a long time, but you know, since I'm really into drawing, I was like, I should have something nice. And I guess it just worked out now that I'm a full-time freelance artist that I do have something nice. My workspace is nice. But speaking of games though, I was thinking, because I have a huge backlog of games, like ginormous. And I was thinking about adding gaming maybe on like Wednesdays to this stream. Dan goes into the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I don't have the car, he does. So I'm stuck at home, and usually on Wednesdays I'm playing games anyway. Because I try not to draw several, like, I try to take a break so I don't draw 2 days in a row. Just to not ruin my hand, basically. I'm trying to take care of myself. I'm not 100% sure what I would play, because I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of games, it's hard to play them and then also read chat at the same time. But I was thinking I'd probably start with Danganronpa 2. If you're not familiar with the series, it's a murder mystery game, but it's a comedy. And it's a little over the top with its humor and its killing. I played the first game for Extra Life on stream like several years ago, and it was fantastic. I was not at all prepared for how crazy it was going to get. I've had the second. I've played a little bit of the second game. I'd start over, but I've had the second game for a really long time. So I thought if I started doing that, then on Wednesdays I'd start playing Danganronpa. At the same time, I'm really, really trying to get through Primal Warriors. Like, if you guys aren't playing it, it has so much single player content. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm still on my first playthrough. I'm like 40 hours in. When I say first playthrough, because there's 3 routes. I'm on the Black Eagles route. It's the first route for me. I'm almost 40 hours in, if I'm not already 40 hours in, and I'm like just a couple of chapters into part 2. Like, I have so much of the game left to go. Like, I'm debating on, I'm thinking to the future of like, oh, who should I play after Black Eagles? I think I'm going to do Golden Deer because I feel that Blue Lions is going to have a lot of story content, and I think if I do Golden Deer first, it'll like, I'll be like, oh, I have to get through it so I can get to Blue Lions, so I can get to the rest of the story. Like, I'm sorry, Claude, but like, your house is barely, it's just there. Your house is filler. I'm sorry. I feel that way in the original, like, 3 Houses, that the Golden Deer is just kind of filler. And all the meat in the story was Black Eagles. Like, in my opinion, Black Eagles is the canon story. But I should go through the rest of my games. I thought, well, Vampire Survivors, I'm not sure how fun it is to watch. But I don't know if I can play it and talk to chat at the same time because it's a bullet hell. And those are very stressful. And most of the time I'm just yelling at the game to like not touch me. Like literally I'll be yelling, no touch, no touch. Which would probably be fun to watch. If people would be okay with me not saying it, like not actually talking to anyone. Focus camera. Okay. The autofocus is like, I should probably turn autofocus off. I don't know, I'm still messing with my camera settings. Last week I did a bunch of changes to the camera and it made it look really good, but it was really good in low light and I didn't think about what was going to happen when the sun came through because our office has a huge sliding glass door, and in the afternoon the sun comes on this side of our house and the sun came through and like the whole picture just like you couldn't see anything and I was like, ah, crap. I'm gonna put that VOD up, but I'm hesitating because I'm like, you can't, like, I'm pretty sure it took me a long time to notice how crappy the video looked. And I'm like, who wants to watch that on YouTube, right? Like, anyway, Aya, what are you up to today? I hope you're also drawing. Or if not drawing, relaxing. Shouldn't she have such a giant bun? I don't know if she should have such a giant bun. Let's tone it down maybe a little bit. Buns are gonna be bigger than her head. I guess that's about right. Oh, motivation's hard. Like, on the one hand, yeah, you should finish your part of the art trade. On the other hand, if you're not motivated, you know, I know that it's really hard for me to work when I'm not motivated, and I tend to output art that looks bad or not as good as I think it would. Versus, like, when I feel like drawing, I feel my art's a lot better. They should be. I mean, maybe that's what. Maybe I should just draw like 2 big moons and her face. Right? That, I think that's what it should be. The other thing I like about digital art is being able to fix things and not have to constantly redraw them. Ooh. Oh, well, I'm glad that I'm helping. I'm helping. Yeah, what I like with digital art is that I can sit here and pretty much adjust these lines because I'm using vector lines. So I can use the vector tool. I can... Oh, I mean, back button, like, oh my god. What was I was using my sketchbook and I kept drawing part of, I think it was the leg wrong. And like normally in digital art, I could just, you know, lasso the leg and move it where I want and manipulate it. But I was sitting there just erasing it. And then every time I try to redraw the leg where it should be, I just drew it back where I had it. And I was so like frustrated. I was like, dear God, just let me have my digital art. Like, but I do want to get better at traditional art. Like, I need to justify my art supplies. Let's see here. Like that. Maybe she shouldn't have so much hair up here. It's 2 pairs, not. Okay, let's something like that, I think. Okay. Just want this, like, it's got like a weird bump. Maybe it's got a weird bump because it's over the sketch. Just this tiny bit here. There we go. I think that's a little better. Nope. You gonna save play?
Yeah, he's gonna get rid of the rest of the shower.
Oh, okay. Dan's installing our new shower heads. Okay, so if it's something like that. Have it like this. It's not, oh man, I'm gonna try and see how much of this I can fix with coloring. Because I think I'm gonna have to go in and add some freehand strands. Ugh. Everything just looks bad when it's lined. It just looks bad. Okay. I think that's good enough. I'm gonna go over here and see if I can get some eyes in. I feel like I'm just having one of those weeks where I really don't like anything that I've put out and I don't know how to make it better. And I'll look at my old drawings and be like, how'd I do that? Oh, okay. I'll do a quick save. I don't know how long I'll be streaming today, too. this is my own fault. I stayed up way too late last night playing video games, so I'm just tired. But definitely Tuesday. I'm gonna try and keep to my schedule this week. As much as I can. Unless I get really sick, but I'm trying. I think I'll go, well, I want to get this done for UsaMamo week, which is next week. The posting day, or the theme I picked was, it's either going to be free day or the music day, because this image is based on Rewrite the Stars, that song. I don't know if it's cheating for me to, well, it's a theme. It's free interpretation, right? Like I should be able to. That should count, right? Okay, so normally I would keep. I could, but I don't want to. I don't want to put the lyrics in the image. So normally I would keep these two on their lines on their own layers, but just not feeling like that, doing that. Fingernails exist. I don't know why they exist. They exist. I mean, I know why they exist, but like, making my life hard. Nah, because it would make sense if I was doing the star locket, but I'm not doing the star locket because if I can not do the 90s anime, I will try not to do the 90s anime. Hi, Yowza! How are you doing? Actually, now that I think about it, Tuesday might be an unboxing stream, depending on if the stuff gets here. You feel slightly dead? You got back from work? Oh no. Because Rolly sent me stuff that he picked because he's visiting family in the US. So he mailed me my Japanese good box, which also has Dan's Gundams in it. So on Tuesday, I might unbox that on stream, and one of the figures that I pre-ordered like last year finally arrived. It's one of the Sailor Moon statues. So I might unbox that too. Man, I'm tired, but like I said, it's my own fault. I've been playing games late at night. Oh, his hair looks awful. Why did I do this? It's fine. Tarkin's just behind me snoring. I feel like he's taunting me. Ah. I think my problem is I'm really not happy with a lot of the the lines here, but I don't know, how does male hair work? Yowza, how does male hair work? You're male, you know, right? I can't figure out hair on men. It eludes me. Like the Play-Doh sets. Yeah. But surely you know how hair works, right? Aww. I was also debating on how the light should be because there's a couple of different light options. Dan and I decided this one looks the best on stream. Some of the other ones I'm afraid to use because I feel like they would cause seizures. I don't really want to trigger anybody who is epileptic. That'd be a horrible way to greet people coming into my stream. It's just like, here, welcome. Let me give you a seizure. Ah. Oh, I think the other thing I should talk about is, I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the stream, but I am doing Extra Life again this year. It's my 7th year doing it. I actually took a break for 2 years because I was just so sick and stressed out from work. But it is a children's hospital charity. It's part of the Children's Miracle Network. And basically participants pledge to play games for 24 hours. They don't require 24 hours in a row anymore, which is great because I can't do 24 hours in a row anymore. But you play for 24 hours in exchange for donations, and those donations go to your chosen children's hospital. So mine is Seattle's Children's. Seattle Children's is a little bit more special to me because one of my really close friends, her daughter was in the infant ICU for like 2 years. I mean, she wasn't just there. She was also at LA Children's and Philadelphia Children's for a little bit, but primarily at Seattle Children's. And Ella she's thankfully still alive. She's home now. and she's starting to walk. So she's 4 now, and she's starting to walk. She's nonverbal, so trying to teach Ella sign language, which is on my to-do list, is to learn some signs to be able to eventually communicate with her. If she does pick up sign language, I think she knows no. I think she's picked up no the last time I saw her. Yeah. So it's been a while, but my donation incentives, aside from playing 24 hours worth of games, is I'm going to be giving away commissions in exchange for donations. So there's on my pledge website. So if you go down to my info and click my pledge website, it'll show you the different incentives you can pick from, ranging from like headshots, chibis, to just me writing out your name with a little stick figure doodle. Or if anyone wants like a full commission, they can choose to donate all of that to Extra Life instead of sending it to me via PayPal. Or if they send it to me via PayPal, they can say like, I want this for Extra Life, and then I will go donate it for them. It's definitely I used to do, and like I said, this is my 7th year, so I used to do this like annually. Of course, for friends and family who live near, well, not even near me. For friends and family, I would mail them candy, cookies and candy boxes, like homemade. Which I offered that again to them this year. When I signed up, I was like, hey, do you guys want cake balls? I'll make you cake balls. Which cake balls are usually a pretty good incentive. Or at least they have been for me in the past. I also think a lot of people have me hidden on Facebook because I went like super political these last couple years. On there. Though I feel like you kind of have to be with what's going on currently. I usually for cake balls I do strawberry, but I've also done chocolate, orange, and mint. Depends on what I'm feeling. Strawberry tends to be the most popular one. See, I do it to I did it on purpose to make my family mad. My family is very conservative. They're very Republican, and it's definitely caused a lot of friction and tension between us since 2016. And most of my friends aren't. Actually, I should say all of my friends are, because I don't stay friends with conservative people. Like, I can't. So, you know, my family was constantly posting incorrect information, fear-mongering stuff, and I was constantly posting the opposite to make sure they saw it. And they did. I had one of my cousins confronted me, and she also, in that same confrontation, told me that I can't experience racism because I'm adopted, that I'm actually white because I was adopted by a white family, and that I am a worthless human because I don't have children. So yeah, most people just don't have the luxury to be the privilege to just pretend that everything is okay. Um, I actually do have the privilege to not say anything if I don't want to, but I usually choose to. My family is, yeah, I mean, my parents have, especially when my mom has really come around. I think she understands a little bit better about at least my personal struggles with the last couple of years. Especially because I'm a naturalized citizen, which, I mean, yeah, adopted immigrant children by white families. That's something we hear quite often, is that you're white because your parents are white, and you can't experience racism because you have white parents, and it's ridiculous. And it's really because those white people see you as one of them. To a certain point, it becomes very clear when your white family adoption no longer protects you, which is, you know, part of being a naturalized citizen thing. Like, on the one hand, when Trump was talking about deporting naturalized citizens, like revoking our citizenship and then deporting us back to our home countries, I was like, oh, he can't do that. But then I'm like, I don't know anymore. Like, I don't know. There are certain things I thought in this country that were like absolutely going to be okay, and then they aren't. Especially because after he started making those declarations about naturalized citizens, they put the big text up on the immigration website, talking about how they're definitely, or they could monitor all immigrants, including naturalized, and scrutinize us if they choose to. So when everyone's joking about having the FBI agent watching them, it wasn't as funny to me because the government outright said, yeah, this is the thing we're going to do to you if we decide we want to. And he just talked about deporting naturalized citizens so much. I was just like, and I was kind of worried there that something might happen. I was like, where am I going to go? You know, are they going to deport me back to Korea? Or could I go to Canada? Could I just go like 4 hours up to Canada? What would that mean, like, for my family, like for Dan? Because Dan was born in Texas, so like he can't lose his citizenship. But I was like, what would that mean for like Dan and Tarkin? Like, would I just live separately in Canada, or would he try to come to Canada too? And then it was extra great when they took away protected status for refugees because Dan's family are refugees from Vietnam. And his dad is a refugee from Cambodia. So I was like, it was just extra like, what do? And the thing is, like, it wasn't just my family saying this either. I've had friends, like, good friends, tell me the same thing. That all of my experiences aren't real because I'm adopted. And there's just a lot going on for my own identity too, because I also had a lot of also like internalized racism. And when I say racism, I'm talking about other Asians, because I thought for the longest time that that I could choose to be Korean or I could choose to be white, and that's not how that works. Like, it took me a long time to understand, especially after I started getting all these comments, people deciding for me what my identity was. Like, I can't not be Korean because I look Korean, and everyone's first impressions of me are going to be, oh, she's East Asian, like she's Korean. I had a Korean coworker, and like, she knew that I was adopted. She had met my family. She had gone out on excursions with my family, and she was just appalled that I didn't know anything about Korean culture, beyond like a cursory knowledge, because I actually do really enjoy learning about culture. So I knew like a little bit, but I didn't know all of these Korean sayings and Korean folklore. And I was like, she was getting mad at me, and I was like, I'm American, like I'm white American, like I don't know Korean culture. I don't know these stories. I don't know these sayings. I can't speak the language. Even when I've picked up some words, I can't pronounce them. I'm like, I'm so bad at foreign languages. And she was like, oh, well, we need to fix that. We're gonna have to fix that. You should know about Korea. You should know these things. And I'm like, well, why should I? So there's that. And then, you know, I had my white friends and family just being like, oh, we're white. You speak English, you know, only know American culture, like that's what you identify as. And I was like, well, yeah, that's what I grew up with. Like, of course I identify as like white American, like ethnically that's what I am. And then of course I would get from people who don't know me like that my English is really pretty. How did I learn to speak English so well? And it was those kind of encounters that made me realize, like, oh, I really can't choose what I want to be, like what I want my representation to be. Like, I have to be Korean and I have to be American, like pretty much white American. Exactly, Aya. That was exactly it. And I struggled for a really long time with my identity because I grew up in it's not a small town. It likes to think it's a small town. It's a city, but it was predominantly white. And it also had a very large Hispanic population because it was a orcharding community. So a lot of immigration during the summer seasons for fruit picking. But back then, because there weren't very many Asians, there weren't very many East Asians in my hometown, that everyone knew who you were. And a lot of us came from the same adoption agency. And everyone knew that you were adopted and that you had white parents. And so because everyone knew that about you, you didn't have to explain yourself. You didn't have to introduce yourself. People already knew that about you. So in high school, or not high school, but in high school, but all through childhood up through graduation from high school, that was my reality. Is everyone already knew who I was. They didn't treat me any differently to my face. I found out behind my back, they would call me like China or that Asian bitch or stuff like that. When I was really little, some kids would make some comments about my eye shape, but like they were little kids and they didn't know. And they were told very severely not to make those kind of comments, but like, you know, little kids are a little bit more innocent, I feel, in that way. Like, we were very young. We're like 4 years old when I started getting those comments. But yeah, so when I graduated from high school and I went to community college first, and of course there's going to be tons of people at community college that don't know me, that didn't go to high school with me, that didn't know that I was adopted, right? And I have to introduce myself to these people, but I was never used to like introducing myself as being adopted. I was just like, oh, hi, I came from the high school. This is my first year in community college. This is what I want to do. And they're like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from here, because the community college was like in my hometown. It was just available to everyone in that greater area. And they're like, oh no, what country are you from? I'm like, I'm from here. And they're like, oh, what country are your parents from? I'm like, they're from here. And I really hated that. And I used to push back on it a lot. And I'd be really kind of snarky about it. Like, if people didn't ask the correct way about my parents' race or my race or ethnicity, I would not give them the answer that they were looking for. I was being difficult on purpose. Until I moved to Seattle to go to a bigger university. I went to UW. And I remember I was getting my hair cut at the salon. I was treating myself, so I paid the extra money to get my hair nicely done. And I had an older gentleman working on my hair, and he was really cool. He was very nice, and he was very smart. And when he was asking me about my family and my heritage, I was being a little smart ass and giving the same answers. And then he like put his hands on my shoulders and he started apologizing for my family being in the internment camps. And I was like, oh crap. And I felt, really bad. And that was when I realized I need to be more honest. Even if I shouldn't always have to put in that much mental energy to clarify myself. I should just be able to exist. But that's when I realized that I really have to, I can't ignore being Korean. I can't ignore being Asian. I have to accept that it's part of my identity. So I explained to him that my family wasn't in the internment camps, but it was really sweet of him to apologize for it and think about it. Yeah, like, it was, yeah, I felt really bad. It was a really good experience for me though. So ever since then, I've been a lot more accepting of the fact that I am not white, even though I come from a white family and I'm ethnically a white American. Like, I am Korean. Being East Asian, those problems affect me, even though I'm very privileged. Like, I'm very well off. You know, I'm very lucky that we can live off of just dance income, that I can be a full-time artist and not have to worry about making a ton of money from it, that I can stream when I want to. But after that interaction, and then, you know, having to deal with guys being very open about their Asian fetish, that was terrifying. And then I had a really close friend she's half Japanese, and I met her through mutual friends, and Dan used to be good friends with her husband, and we were friends for a couple years. And it probably doesn't come across to you guys, so I've talked about it a little bit, but I'm very outspoken. I'm very aggressive. I have a masculine personality that I'm not necessarily trying to tone down, but I'm trying to be better about being a good person, especially to other people, which means not always running my mouth, not yelling at everything, not demanding justice in unhelpful ways all the time. But we got in a fight, and she finally told me, well, we got in a fight because her friends were very rude to me, and I told them off for it. Like, they were really awful, and she even agreed with me. Like, what they did was really mean. It was really out of line for them. They should apologize, but you shouldn't be mad at them. You shouldn't have yelled at them or told them off. You should have cried and made them feel bad so they would apologize to you, because that's what I do to make them apologize to me. And I was like, I'm not gonna, what? I'm not gonna fake cry to get people to apologize. And so her and I got in a big fight about it, and she finally told me, she's like, I never actually liked you. I never really liked how mannish your personality is. I was just hoping if I stuck around you long enough that you would change into the type of woman, the type of Asian woman you should be. And I was like, oh. So yeah, like, had all these wonderful experiences in the last decade to where I am now. And so that is why on Facebook, to friends and family, I am very political. I feel that I can't not be. I mean, I could not be. I am privileged enough where I could just never talk about political issues if I don't want to. But I also feel a sense of responsibility to do so because I am protected enough to not actually get in trouble for a lot of the things I want to say and do say. But anyway, yeah, this is why I think a lot of my family has muted me on Facebook. That was a lot of trauma dump on you guys. I'm sorry. This is not fun. I wanted my stream to be fun. Sniper was here in the beginning where I was talking about how, like, oh, I want to make my stream better and for it to be more engaging. And I feel like talking about all the crappy things that have happened to me, like racially, was not the way to do it. I'm sorry. Though, maybe this isn't as funny as I think it is. I thought so after the whole internment camp thing with the hairstylist. I was working at Blockbuster at the time. Yeah, I worked at a Blockbuster. That was interesting. Um, and I had told my manager, my shift manager, what had happened, and she's like, "Wow, that's sad." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess it was sad." And she's like, "Yeah, and also because we've never had internment camps." And I was like, "What do you mean we never had internment camps? Like Washington State has some of the biggest ones." And I was like, and I asked her, I was like, "Do you know the Washington? It was called the Puyallup Fair, but I was like the Washington State Fair. Like, do you know those fairgrounds? That was an internment camp." And she's like, "What? No." I was like, I was not prepared for her to say. Yeah, I get some Serenity boobies in here now, but yeah, it's just like, oh. And I was like, "No, honey, go look it up. Go Google. Look at Wikipedia. Look at the fairgrounds and what they are." I forgot that I was working on the puff part of her sleeve, and I just... Anyway, hi guys. Also, I promised the internment camps were real and that they were here. That kind of reminds me, in high school, there's a substitute teacher. It was a Holocaust. She was a Holocaust denier. I don't understand how she was able to keep teaching. But when we found out that she was a Holocaust denier, people used to, like, when they knew she was subbing for them, they would take sanitary products and, like, put them out on the overhead projectors. So she would come in, there'd just be like pads and tampons open everywhere. She'd be so mad. Oh man, so just remember with Taiki that the forehead is like this tall. And then she's got like really flat hair. And if you do that, it'll be fine. It'll be perfect. A+. I know her forehead is like, it should be ginormous and come with like a big warning sign on it. I agree, like, if we don't get that. I feel like this part needs to move here because it feels like okay, I think that's a little better. I have to go in and really fix this. Respect, yeah, 5 heads. I think the worst part is the freaking rat tail, and like I know why she has it in there. If I remember correctly, they told her they wanted their hair to be long enough for fashion dolls, because I believe she drew them all just the short top hair, and they're like, no, the toys, and she's like, fine. She had these giant ass rat tails. And like, you know, I respect her for doing that. But I'm also just like, and huge rat tails too. Like, Taiki is essentially, well, Taiki and Seiya are essentially like supreme mullets. You know, they could go as Obi-Wan from the prequels for Halloween. Let me try to think of a fun story. Let me try and salvage this. I'm gonna put it on YouTube and it's gonna get flagged. The video's gonna get flagged for talking about racism and the Holocaust and internment camps. And what's a fun story? If you made it this far into the video, what is a fun story I could share with you? I feel like I've talked about the sexy backstory already on stream. I don't know if it's already in one of the VODs that I've uploaded, so I'd feel bad repeating it. We, in college, one of my friends had a life-size cutout of Han Solo. Oh, the sexy backstory. How did I get my dog? Oh, I can answer Tarkin really quickly. Tarkin ended up being a 30th birthday present to myself, like around my birthday, because we were talking about getting a dog, and I found him on Pet Finder, with a little video, and we went to the rescue, which was also a pet store, to meet him. Put a hold on him and picked him up at the end of the week. And paid for him. I think I had to pay for him in cash. Thinking about it, like, the pet store lady was a little shady. But Tarkin, allegedly, she found him tied to her pet store door one day. So he was abandoned. And he wasn't fixed, and he was trained, and he is a lap dog. And he is down here snoring away. If he was awake, I would show him to you guys, but he's sleeping. But the sexy backstory, I'll go ahead and tell it again. So sexy backstory, it's a Blockbuster story. So I wasn't working at Blockbuster yet. Like, one of my friends in college got me the job at Blockbuster, and I think this is before I started working at Blockbuster, and he was just working there. And it was the university Blockbuster, so it was very busy. And he and a couple other people we knew worked there. And one day, this girl that he thought was really cute from one of his science classes walked in with some DVDs. And when I say, I should probably say what time this was. It was like 2008, 2009. Like, Justin Timberlake just came out with his new album, if that's not a hint of where the story is going to go. So this girl walks in, they think this is cute, and he's working at the checkout counter, and the university Blockbuster is all windows. So the checkout counter is not facing, but it's this part of the building, and then here's the parking lot. It's all windows, and you see all the checkers as they're checking people out or checking stuff back in. So my friend's there. She comes up to him, and she's like, "Oh, I'm bringing these back." And he takes the DVDs from her, and he's like, "Oh, do you know what I'm bringing back?" And he tells this story really well because he talks about what he was thinking and what he was feeling. And I don't remember any of that because I just immediately started cracking up. And I've heard this story like a million times, and to me, it's hysterical every single time. And she apparently just gives him kind of a quizzical look, like, what? And he's like, sexy? Because, the freaking Justin Timberlake song Sexy Back was, happening. And she apparently just kind of looked at him, and he's like, kid, he like checked in the DVDs, and she left. And then he immediately like fell behind the register, like was trying to hide, except of course the registers are all facing the parking lot, so everyone's just seeing him having like a complete breakdown behind the registers. Meanwhile, his entire team, with some of our friends on it, are dying inside the Blockbuster. Which I can't remember if they told us the story first or if he did. Like, either way, the story was getting out. And so we spent like the next 5 to 10 years of our friendship just playing Sexy Back for him. Every time we saw him, like, we would go down to get some videos from Blockbuster, and one of our friends happened to be the shift manager that day while our other friend was working, and she would put on Sexy Back throughout, like, blasting it throughout the entire Blockbuster. Each of our weddings, we played Sexy Back, and we made him dance to it. Like, it was not going anywhere. So when I finally got hired at Blockbuster, I think a couple years after this happened, and I got my job through him, and a lot of people, I was working at a different one. I didn't work at the university one, but I worked at a couple of different locations because I kind of filled in, and a lot of them knew who he was, and I was like, oh, do you guys know about the Sexy Back story? And they're like, what? I mean, we kind of heard about it, but we didn't know much of what it actually was, other than there was a customer and somebody said that they were bringing Sexy Back to them. And I was like, oh, so my friend became the Sexy Back guy amongst all the Blockbusters when they were open. Hopefully he doesn't check out any of my streams and comes in and yells at me for talking about the story, because it's a very old story and we don't talk about it anymore. Um, we don't talk about him being the sexy bad guy. Man, he better pray. He doesn't know this, but he better pray that like my YouTube channel doesn't take off at all. Otherwise, everyone's going to know the freaking sexy backstory. Or maybe I should pray. He might come kill me or something. He might just come end me. But I never stream again. If you hear in the newspaper, Korean woman dies to sexy back, you'll know it's me. And you'll know what happened. And why I'm not streaming anymore. Hope it doesn't come to that, but... I hope you all will remember me fondly. I think that was probably, well, a lot of silly stuff happened in college. I mean, I started telling you guys that there's a cardboard cutout of Han Solo in the house that I was living in. I was briefly couch surfing, and I was staying in the living room, and I would get kind of freaked out at Han Solo looking at me. So I used to take him, and when my roommates were sleeping, I put him in front of their doors that were shut. Or if they went to the bathroom or took a shower, I'd put it in front of the shower door. I'm a great friend. There was one time I convinced everyone that we should take the cardboard cutout out to the bars, and we did. There's pictures of us doing it, and then we had such a good time taking the cutout out that we took the cardboard cutout just like everywhere with us that night. Including we took the cardboard cutout to campus and was running around with it taking pictures. And at the end of the night, because we thought we were like so funny and that we were just these huge nerds with a cardboard cutout of Han Solo. And we get onto campus and we get to Red Square and we find this just like row of Segways just parked next to one of the buildings. And we're like, why are all these Segways here? I mean, I feel like if you have a cardboard cutout, like eventually that's gonna happen. So we found this row of Segways and we had the cutout and we were actually putting Han Solo like next to the Segways so he could like do the Kessel Run with them. And we did see these two people dressed up in outfits, and it was a DM talking to another player about some secret things because there is a huge Vampire the Masquerade LARP going on in that building, and we're just like, oh, we got severely out-nerded. Like, here we're just running around with this cardboard cutout being idiots, and there's an entire, like, LARP going on, and we're like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're not as nerdy as we think we are. But I've also taken Han Solo to at the airport, and I made a little sign that drapes around his neck, and you could write a person's name on it. So if we're picking up someone from the airport, I'd bring it and have like their name written on the sign. And we took him to a toga party, and I wrapped a bed sheet around him as a toga and gave him a little laurel wreath to wear. Oh, Tarkin. Okay. Tarkin's up. He wants to go out. I will be right back. Okay, I think Tarkin has agreed to come say hello. Come here. Come here. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Okay, okay. No, look, look. Can you see that? Can you look into the camera? You can't see the camera. Oh, then you cannot see. I mean, you can see. You can't see that well anymore. Yeah. Hi. Hi. Oh, see? Not so bad, right? Turn like this. Whoop. Hi. Oh yeah, I called you a baby. When you think about that, are you a baby? You a baby? Yeah. No, I know you want to lick my face, but not right now, okay? Later. Later you can do that. Yeah. You want down? You want down? Oh no. You want down? No. Okay. Say goodbye to camera. Say goodbye. Goodbye. Okay. You can go be free now. You can do whatever you want. Don't potty in the house though. Okay? You can go back to your bed? Okay. Oh, please. Come on, tablet. Let's go. Are you leaving again? Okay, he's leaving. It is about that time of the day where he gets up and he's just like, wait. Okay, please don't scavenge. Don't do that. It is the time of the day where he gets up and then he walks around looking for food. He thinks he deserves food. I mean, you do deserve food, but it's not food time for you. Tarkin's definitely in his phase where like he doesn't think he gets fed enough. Which is a lie. Dan's parents came over yesterday and Tarkin was scavenging for food because he's in his I want to eat all the time phase. And they're like, oh, he's hungry, you're not feeding him enough. If you did, he wouldn't be looking for food. And I was like, that's not true. There's a lot of dogs who eat all the time if they could. And explode and die. Tarkin did not used to be such a dog. He is now. I'm not entirely sure if it's because of old age. We're not sure. But he's not on a diet, but we have to watch how much he eats because his knees are bad. He has one knee fixed. The other knee is not great. We're going to get it fixed this year. And all of the vets recommend that he not gain any more weight so it doesn't add more stress onto his knee. Of course, most of the vets are like, well, if he gets fat, he gets fat. We have one vet that's like, no, he should be thinner. And we're just like, oh God. Because Tarkin's only 8 pounds. And he really shouldn't be, he should probably be more like 7.5 pounds. But he shouldn't be more than 8 pounds. And that means that he, in order to maintain his weight, he can only have like 190 kcals a day, which is not very much. So it's like, it's a struggle with him. He also used to not hate, but he just like wouldn't eat. We used to like really struggle to get him to eat and then keep his weight on. Yeah, Tarkin's only 8 pounds. He's a little guy. So we're really excited when he did start eating. We're like, yes, good, eat all your food. And then now he's just like, I want to eat all the time. And we're like, no, you cannot eat all the time. I swear to God, this dog. This dog. I feel like I have a very terrible grasp on drawing Serenity's dress. I think something like that, maybe. I've definitely changed where it goes now. That's okay. If you think about it, her dress is kind of a pain in the butt, and it's just like, of course you picked this one. This is what you wanted her to wear. Welcome back, Tarkin. You know what? Let's make these longer. Ah. Okay, I want it to be there. I want it to be like this. Woo. These are just giving me such problems. Ah. This is one of those moments where I talked about like, oh, I need to try and talk to fill the dead air, but I'm concentrating so hard on like trying to make this not look terrible. Whoops. Okay, that could be worse. Okay. That's you know what? It's gonna have to be good enough. Okay. I would like to at least finish the lines today, and I feel like this bottom section is not nearly as finicky as... Okay, maybe the hands are. I don't know if I'll get to the hands today, guys, but I'd like to at least finish the figures. Okay, now the tedious work is done. Oh. I want this to... I told Dan I would cook dinner tonight, but I'm not feeling it. I wonder if I can convince him that we should order dinner. To be fair, I don't think it'd take a lot of convincing. It's just we ordered lunch today already because all the stuff we have in the fridge right now just didn't sound good. And the leftovers from last night. Then we have leftovers from last week that are, it's quite good in my opinion. I made pork ribs. And I've been cutting them up into sandwiches. So making pretty much barbecue pork sandwiches. Oh, you switched to a new phone? Oh, you got a new phone? I don't want to eat barbecue pork sandwiches. I've eaten them so many days in a row. And they're good, but like I'm not a person that can, unless I really, really like the food, I can't eat the same thing multiple days in a row. I had a coworker though that could, and she would go get the same salad from Safeway every single day. And I was just like, I can't do it. Let's... Maybe... Okay, then where is... Oh yeah, it's pretty hidden, which is nice. Okay. So that's good there. Okay. Something like that. I think that's good. Okay. Okay, let's finish lining Endymion. Still not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And we'll call that the stream today. Okay, first I gotta get color. Today's just kind of quiet. That's nice for it to be quiet. I think after this, Dan's still trying to... So we got new shower heads a couple weeks ago because we decided to get the ones that detach. So we could give Tarkin a bath, and if we need to clean out big things because we don't have a mud room or like a sink big enough to do this kind of things. So we got new shower heads, and then Dan realized that he didn't have wrenches that would work with removing the shower heads and putting them back on. So we ordered those and had to wait for them to show up, and then if you heard him earlier, I guess there's a bunch of like rust inside them, so he went to the store to get rust cleaner. But he's been working on the shower heads. Since I've been streaming. Really? This is how you're gonna be? Nope. honestly, he has some really weird armor. Thinking about it. Hmm. He's got his package. This one. I'm gonna do something weird with his boots. Because I can. Have the greaves look like that. Oops, that's not what I wanted. This. And I think I want to... Let me look at his uniform again. I know he has some stripies there, I think. I don't know about his outfit most of the time. Okay. That's what I thought. They are here. And there. Let's see, okay. So he... That's not too bad. Like that. Okay. Something like that, right? Okay. The only thing I don't have is his sword. I don't know if I want to draw his sword in. Not because I can't, but I feel like it's not a necessary part of the picture. I don't know. Yeah, I could have it like peeking. And why is his sword hilt so weird? Oh my god, it looks like a toy. Nah, let's just get rid of this. Never mind. No sword. No sword, it's fine. He doesn't need it. No sword. Do I have... Do I want to just go ahead and line the hands because they're here? It's kind of how I feel about things where I'm just like, oh, but I'm here. I could just get it done. It's good enough. Okay. Maybe get some hand action in here, maybe. Oof. Hands are hard. Hands are definitely the hardest thing for me. Okay. That looks okay. Looks okay. Yay! That looks alright. Like, hands are hard. I don't know why we need hands. I mean, I know why we need hands. Hi, Dion. I know, no hands. You know what the secret is? A lot of artists, what we did is we hid the hands behind the back. It's going all right. Just probably finishing up here. How are you doing? Is the kid still really into Hercules? Man, I had no idea what Bluey was until what was it? It was one of the streaming services. It showed up when I was like just looking around. If only the kid was into I Love Lucy, right? Like, I have mom friends, but they obviously don't want to talk about the shows that their children are watching. I think they just want to have like an adult conversation. The only time they really talk to me about children's shows is essentially when I'm at their house and we have to watch the shows with the kids. Which, you know, fair enough. We definitely watched a lot of the PJs. The PJ show. I'm not entirely sure. The kids wore pajamas and they're superheroes. Something like that. We had to watch that a lot. And then when I would go to the children's hospital to visit my friend and Ella, we watched a lot of CoComelon. I have a lot of the songs, unfortunately, stuck in my head. Usually when we go see Ella and her big brother Owen, usually my friend and I are entertaining Ella, and then Owen drags Dan around to do something. I think last time he made Dan play Smash Brothers with him for like an hour, and then he decided Dan was too good, so he needed to train, and then Dan scooted Ella around in her stroller for the next hour around the house. While I cooked dinner for my friend. Yeah, no, this is definitely what CoComelon is. The Rainbow Popsicle song played all the time though when I was visiting at the hospital, and like I know that one fairly well. The other kids, my other nibblings, they're a bit older. So there's the 10-year-old we took to Disney, and then my other best friend's son, he's 14 now. I haven't seen them very often though because of COVID, and they were forced obviously back to in-person learning, and he immediately caught COVID when they went back to school, so I haven't really seen my friend in a long time, which is Maddie when she pops in here. But yeah, don't let CoComelon in. Like, don't do it. I feel like CoComelon's the worst. I mean, obviously I haven't watched all the kids shows that have come out, but in my opinion, from the ones that I have been subjected to, CoComelon was like the worst. Maddie, hi! I was just talking about you. I was talking about, like, the Thardis is 14 now, right? But we haven't really seen each other. COVID is a thing. But yeah, don't let CoComelon in. I think it's better that you just watch Hercules 6 times in a row than have to watch CoComelon. So I'm actually gonna end stream here. Oh no! Well, I mean, that's not your fault though. It's not like you can really vet who you're selling stuff to, so, but I understand what you feel bad. Yeah, 14's crazy. And Landon's 10, like, yeah, I mean, I only see my parents maybe twice a year. And they only live about 3 hours away. I might see them more if they live closer. I'm not sure. Because they don't. Well, my mom likes coming over here. My dad doesn't, and I don't like going back to my hometown. So usually, once a year, I drive back to my hometown to see my parents, and then I see my friends that are still there. Oh, that's true, Dion. Silver lining. I lose more money. Man, when I saw I think we all knew that there's going to be a crypto crash, especially from, the way NFTs were going. But when the news started coming out, I was just like, ha! But, I told you guys about my graphics card, right? Because, last year my computer blue screened. And it was still usable, but when your computer starts blue screening, I'm like, okay, it means it's time to start replacing the parts. And of course, we're like, oh God, it's really hard to get a graphics card. And then a lot of the parts just shot up in price in general. And I didn't want to do this. We did it because I really wanted a graphics card, but we ended up lining up outside of Best Buy at like 6 in the morning to get a graphics card. And we were the last, we got the last of I think we got the T1. I don't remember which ones they were now. 1090s? It was a pretty solid card, but we got the last two because I was like, Dan, if I'm gonna upgrade my computer, I think you should too. Because we usually upgrade our computers around the same time. He staggered it last time, but I was like, why don't you just go ahead and upgrade your computer too if you're gonna upgrade mine? So we got, thankfully, the graphics cards. We got them at MSRB, so we didn't have to pay an exorbitant amount, but we literally had to go line up in front of Best Buy at 6 in the morning, and people had camped out. So when we got there, our place in line was behind the building because so many people before us got there. When there's definitely tents next to the side of the building. Yeah, that's nice to hear. I'm glad that eventually everything's going to become a lot more accessible because computers, they are a necessity in this day and age. Yes, you need to have some form of a computer. Oh man, so we got them, we built the computers. Of course, all the prices were super expensive, all the other parts, but we bought them. And I think there's a couple of things that we went mid-tier for, so I don't know, if things keep dropping, maybe we can go for the high tier stuff at the end of the year, next year. But I was like, I also can't have a computer crapping out on me. I had to replace it if I wanted to continue actually being a full-time artist. Because I don't want my computer to blue screen in the middle of me drawing. Just thinking of my job. And I believe we might have written it off as a tax write-off. I know we wrote off my tablet as a work expense because it's a work expense. Oh, you got, okay. Oh yeah, upgrading CPU. Isn't that the worst part about computers though? It's like, oh, I want this, but I need to upgrade this first, and then this, and also this, and then I might as well do this part here while I'm doing everything else. I'm glad you're able to get in back in January. The whole thing was crappy. But yeah. Oh, focus, please. Focus. Okay. Someday, I think the next big expense I'd like to do is a better webcam or a better camera setup. Oh, yeah. Oh no. Well, I'm glad you figured it out, Sniper. Oh, yeah. The way technology ramps up, needs to stop. We don't make enough money to constantly replace things. I let Dan keep up on that stuff. He builds our computers. I bet I can learn, but I'm just like, Dan knows. Dan can take care of it. I'll just be here. I'll be drawing boy heads on horses and it'll be good. So I talked about this at the beginning of the stream. Since there's more of you here, I'll just talk about it again, and Sniper will get to hear about it for the second time. Basically, I'm trying to be more engaging on stream. I know that it is very, very rare, and it is very hard for streamers to take off. And I'm not expecting that of myself. But I think it doesn't hurt to try and do better or put effort in to at least make things fun around here. And also, because I'm going to start uploading VODs onto YouTube, I was thinking about what I really want to do with those VODs. Because a lot of times it's just me here drawing and not saying anything. I don't know how entertaining that really is, especially on YouTube. So I'm going to try and start talking about my process and why I'm doing what I'm doing when I'm drawing. And that'll also force me to talk. Even when people aren't around, I'm still talking, so that I think is good for the VODs. And then if somebody pops in and I'm talking, hopefully that also makes them want to stick around. I don't know, I've been looking up guides on how to Twitch, how to social media, but still within my comfort zone, because I'm still chronically ill, and I'm refusing to overwork myself, so I'm not going to be streaming every day. Like, I need to stick to my schedule of twice a week, and I haven't been able to do that yet. So that's like, my next goal is to be able to consistently stream twice a week, like I say I'm going to. And then I was thinking about adding, if I could do that, to add an additional stream, probably on Wednesdays, just to play games. I never intended to be like a gaming stream, but I do have a huge backlog of PC games, and I don't draw every day on purpose because I'm trying to not overwork my hand and my arm. But maybe I could do a gaming stream. I know Rolly wants me to do games. He always tells me, he's like, you can do more than draw. I thought about doing that too. I just don't have an editing program, and I don't know if that's something I want to invest in yet. Definitely going to upload the VODs though. It is the full stream. And unfortunately, this stream, man, I feel bad for Sniper, and I spent 30 minutes of this stream just talking about not fun things. So I'm sure when anyone watches this VOD, they're gonna be like, why is this girl talking about racism and and Republicans and blah blah blah. Why is she talking about Holocaust deniers? Oh well. I don't know, because that's the other thing I was thinking about. I was like, do I need to start like catering, like curating myself? I think the answer to that is no. Oh, DaVinci Resolved? Okay. Let me make a note of that. I mean, I've considered maybe purchasing an actual program, but I'm trying to be prudent, I guess, about what I'm spending my money on. Like, yes, I did purchase these technically for stream, but it was also kind of dark back here. My new twinkle lights. It was also dark in this corner, so we wanted light back there anyway. It's just like, it's not that I don't want to be a successful artist and that I don't want to be a successful streamer. I just feel that I have realistic expectations for myself that it's probably not going to happen. So I'm just trying to have a good time in a way that I hope other people also like. So I hope you guys like Cursed Art. I hope you like hearing me ramble about stupid things for 3 hours and be angry at drawing hands. I feel like every time I have to draw a hand on the stream, I yell at it a lot because I don't like it. And then, you know, hopefully maybe the games will be fun. I don't know. I'm not sure how well I react to games. Dan thinks I'm funny, but he's my husband. And I think he's required to think that I'm funny. Yeah, twinkle lights are the best. I have some on my desk, but you like can't see them. When we fixed up Dan's desk, I threw twinkle lights on his desk too. I was like, you need to have them. These are really cool though. They like have, is this the remote? Yeah, it has a little remote here. So I have it on rainbow right now, but I can choose like just one color. And it has some different animation options for it. A lot of them I feel aren't great. One of them for sure I think would cause seizures for people who have epilepsy, so I'm just not. You laugh at me you say that you laugh at me all the time, but it's usually me laughing at you. And you're just like being like, why? Don't lie, Maddie. I know what our relationship's like. What is it? Let me see if I can. Okay, that one. There's this. I thought this one was cute too, but I didn't think it was very readable on stream. So I thought this glowing one was good. And don't shush me. And come in here and lie to my stream about me and you. I don't know, it'd be even better when Lauren gets here, then her and I can both pester you. I know, it's very long. The other day, what was that? I was doing this, and my hair was here, and I got like caught in my armpit, and I was just like, Dan, I think my hair got too long. I haven't decided if I'm going to like cut it. I mean, I'm gonna get it trimmed, but I don't know if I'm gonna grow it out any longer. But yeah. Okay, I think I've delayed enough. I'm not drawing anymore. I'm gonna end the stream soon. Let's see. Next stream, I'm gonna definitely. My goal this week is to stream on Tuesday and Thursday, like I say that I'm going to. I'm probably going to keep working on this because it is for UsaMamo week, which is a thing that's happening on Tumblr, and it's next week, so I'd like to have it done. I do need to finish my tarot card for the tarot card project. It is almost done though, so I feel that's why I was working on this today and not that. If we get this done, I'll probably go back to either mermaids or working on the stuff voted on by Patreon, which I think is turning Yzma from the Emperor's New Groove into a Sailor Guardian. Have V Channy's commission, and then I need to do some line art for a coloring page. And then this Saturday, I'm doing Draw Pokemon from Memory again. So if you guys stop by from that, just come with your list of Pokemon. If you haven't seen me do it before, basically I draw, you tell me the name of the Pokemon, and I have to draw it from memory. I can't look it up. Don't give me any hints, unless they're very vague hints, because the idea is that I need to draw it from memory, and it's funny when I get it wrong. And that's actually where my Chinchou right here. This is Chinchou. It was supposed to be Chinchou, and I couldn't remember what Chinchou looked like. And so I couldn't remember if it was the anglerfish, if it was the wind chime, or if it was the Pikachu clone. So I drew all three. And that's what happens with Draw from Memory. So yeah, this Saturday in the afternoon Pacific, I'm going to do that again. Come prepared with your list of Pokemon for me to draw. But yeah, I'm gonna try very hard to stream on Tuesday and Thursday this week and finish this. And then work on, I guess I should finish the Patreon stuff because people pay to be on my Patreon and vote. I should get their stuff done for them. Oh my god, it's... I mean, I really enjoy Draw from Memory, but oh man, like sitting there, it's a struggle, you know, remembering what some stuff looks like. I think I did Sailor Moon last time, and that actually wasn't too bad. I missed out on some details for the character designs, but I think like overall I nailed those pretty well. But Pokemon, like, oh man, I was messing up all the time. Especially because I don't know the new generation, so if you tell me any new generation Pokemon names, I'm just gonna make something up. Like, unless it's Wooloo, because I know what Wooloo looks like. Everyone was talking about Wooloo. Okay, it's next stream on Tuesday and Thursday. Draw Pokemon from Memory on Saturday. Extra Life. For the new people coming in, I am doing Extra Life this year. It is a children's hospitals charity benefiting, well, it's a network benefiting all the children's hospitals across the U.S. I'm playing for Seattle Children's this year, and specifically Baby Ella. And if you donate, you can receive a commission depending on your donation level. So if you go down to my page, my Extra Life pledge page, I'll have it all detailed out for you. And then in November, I will be doing 2 12-hour streams as part of my pledge. So, oh man, I haven't done Extra Life in 2 years. And I was trying to get like Rolly and Lunch Dad to do it with me, but I don't know if they will. You know, it's listen to Pikachu. I mean, we're Pikachu. I mean, I kept up with the Pokemon games for a while, and then I just stopped playing them because I felt, I mean, obviously they're for children, but I also felt that they weren't smart games. I mean, not that they're ever really smart games, but do you know what I mean? Like, they felt like they're purposely dumbed down, and like, kids aren't stupid. You can make quality games that the kids can enjoy, but adults can also enjoy. And it just, I don't know, I felt like at a certain point the games turn into like, Pokemon weren't meant to fight sort of thing. Uh, yeah, but I still enjoy the Pokemon themselves and the nostalgia around them, and I really like Detective Pikachu. And I have my favorite Pokemon that I still draw because they're stupid. Like, I love Vanillite, which is like the dumbest Pokemon to exist. It's an ice cream cone. But yeah, okay. So I'm gonna end the stream here. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming by. I really appreciate it, especially since I don't normally stream on the weekends. I may reconsider that. I just usually like to keep my weekends open in case Dan and I need to go do something because he's only off on the weekends. But yeah, I will catch you guys next time. Okay? Is there any raid outs today? No? Okay. Yeah, you guys have a good week too. Dion, have a good week. Watch Hercules like 60 more times. Thanks guys for coming by. Thanks Manny for subbing again. Maybe I'll do a few more weekend streams so you can actually come by and use your sub. Oh, by the way, since you're a sub, down in stream avatars, if you go to, I think it's like Mochi Bunny gear on the menu, you can pick a cat to follow you around your little avatar. So subs can pick a cat or a crow because those are the animals in Sailor Moon. And they'll follow you around. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Bye!